The AMA with Chris Marszalek is only hours away, so we're getting close to a make or a break moment for CRO. So what can we expect? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only Coin Baron, and this video is sponsored by WolfSwap, one of the most exciting places to trade or launch new tokens, but more about that in a few minutes. First, I want to talk about the immediate short-term rally for the CRO token, because it is really a make or break moment in my eyes. You can also see that quite nicely here on the Rainbow Chart, because it is right at the lower edge really of the green zone. And what I've been waiting for and also been talking about in a few videos, and if you've not seen that guys, don't forget to also hit the like button and subscribe, because it is right here, right? And every time we go to this trend line, this monotonic increasing trend line, we have some kind of reaction. So this time, the last time we touched the line here, we had a really beautiful bounce. So again, we really touched the line here, and it's time to actually have a reaction. But I think it kind of is more like what we have seen here. We've been trading for a long time at the range lows. So maybe we need a bit more time to actually trade at these range lows. But there's one good thing, because this time when we had the last touch here and also this huge green candle, something happened. You might remember, ladies and gentlemen, that on this day, not only Donald J. Trump was elected with, of course, a lot of great promises, also on this day, we did get the release of a new roadmap. So in general, I think we need some kind of catalyst to propel us forward. And we might have just that. If you take a look here, what's going to happen tomorrow on the 25th of March, there will be an AMA with Chris Marszalek happening at 1 p.m. Singapore time. And I will be live streaming that event. So it's going to be quite exciting, because I'm quite certain he's going to talk about a few hot topics, including the 70 billion mint of new tokens, bringing up the max supply again for Cronos to 100 billion. A very controversial topic really for the Crow fam. I've been watching these AMAs between Chris and also Steve. So Steve is the chief of marketing of Crypto.com for really the last 5 years. So I didn't want to give you guys any false hope, but typically Chris doesn't answer any live questions from the audience. Instead, they pre-select questions submitted by the community, and they also then have time to prepare the answers. So the AMA is somewhat staged. However, the information in those AMAs is typically very good. Even though I do have to admit here that Chris is somewhat political in his answers sometimes. So what we have to understand is that Crypto.com and Cronos Labs are still two separate entities. So Chris might often refer to Cronos Labs for some additional answers, because again, officially, he's the CEO of Crypto.com, not the CEO of Cronos Labs, even though they have a very important stake there. Having said that, the Cronos ETF is also part of the Crypto.com roadmap. So I do believe that Chris is going to tackle the hard questions as well. But I also hope he's going to bring something extra, something that makes us really bullish and makes us believe into a golden age. And I do believe that Chris has some good answers, because otherwise, if I were a CEO and I didn't have any good answers, I wouldn't be doing any AMA at all. Some might say that this AMA is all about damage control for Crypto.com, but I've actually been doing some research and taking a look at all the AMAs Chris has done, and this one's actually quite funny here. Chris actually talked about the 70 billion burn for Crowcoin. But here, for example, the AMA on the 19th of January 2024. After that AMA, something interesting happened on the chart here. You can see AMA was done and the Crow price went up like crazy. Same thing here. We released the roadmap, but after the AMA, we actually went up even a bit more. Counter argument is the AMA that was held right in the bear market, right after the FTX collapse here. This was the FTX collapse. A lot of fear and doubt, and also a lot of uncertainty for Crypto.com. And after the AMA, there was a bit of a relief rally, bringing up the Crowcoin once more. But in the end, well, the Crowcoin did still go down even a lot lower, about 22%. So an AMA is not the end all be all, but if you take a look at the last two AMAs, well, quite positive results. In general, it feels like the crypto market is ready for its next leg up. So let's explore that after a quick word from our sponsor. WolfSwap is a place to easily trade your favorite tokens directly on the Cronos chain. But recently, they also added a new launchpad to trade newly launched tokens. For example here, Roaring Chrissy. And this is no financial advice, but you can buy and sell tokens here before they go to a DAX. And if that's not enough, you can also launch your own token, and it is super easy. All you gotta do is select your own name or your own name for the token, select the ticker, and also choose really what kind of image you want for the token. Check out Wolf Street right now in the link in the description down below. Let's continue with the video. As I mentioned in the intro, Cronos is in quite an interesting pattern, as you can see on the chart to the left of me. This is called a symmetrical triangle, and typically a symmetrical triangle can go up or down. There is really no preference over here. So I think an important factor will be, for example, the AMA. If the AMA is going to be bearish, well, then it's going down. If the AMA is going to be good, then of course the price will go up. But also it can somewhat depend on other factors, like for example Bitcoin over here. So Bitcoin is also currently in a very similar pattern, as we can see, and Bitcoin is also working on a breakout at this moment, trying to break 89k. 89k is a big nut to crack, as we talked about this for a long time already. So 89k is right at this level here. So I think Bitcoin tries really to break into this pattern once more, and we actually might see a bit of bouncing in between. But this is really what I'm hoping for, what I'm waiting for Bitcoin to do, so we can finally return to 100k. If we zoom in on the weekly stochastic for Bitcoin, I do think there's quite a decent chance we'll break back into that 90k range, mainly because this over here. So we actually started a new uptrend for Bitcoin on the stochastics, and the last time we went below 20, there was also, I think, the start really of a new uptrend. That was exactly when this happened over here. So we went down below this range, and then we started a new uptrend towards 100k. And another supporting fact is not just the RSI, but also the MACD, because on the MACD, this is the first week so far, and the week, of course, is still very young, but the first week was starting with a light red candle here for the MACD. So it is starting to work on the flip, like we've seen over here. So we go from dark red into light red, and then eventually, this should actually flip into green. So we start with a new approach for a new all-time high. If you take a look at the indicators for CRO, it's telling you a very similar story. So also there, stochastics are working on a comeback, and also the CRO token is having some light red candles. The only interesting fact is that I think CRO fell a lot harder than Bitcoin a few weeks earlier already, so it's been working on that comeback already for a bit longer than what we've seen with Bitcoin. So yeah, I think Cronos might have a really beautiful recovery if it follows the pattern we've been seeing so far with the previous dumps into the oversold territory for the stochastics and also for the MACD. I do have to say though that the week is still very young, so we could easily get like a rejection at that 89k level for Bitcoin, and that could mean that we are dropping down once more to, let's say, 74k to retest that one for support. So a lot of scenarios are in play, but I do believe it's more bullish than bearish based on where we are currently in the cycle, because typically we have about 6 more months left or 7 more months left in this cycle before, well, it's over. So very exciting months left. I think this AMA will be also very instrumental, and it will be this make or break moment. I do believe Chris is going to tackle the hard questions. But yeah, we have to wait and see. It's going to happen tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, in only a few hours after I upload this video. So make sure you are subscribed and you hit the like button, because I will be live streaming that event as well. And also we'll be doing some discussions afterwards with the community. What do you think about the AMA? Was it enough? Wasn't it enough? I mean, it is going to be make or break once more. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's me. I'm the Coin Baron, and you can find a link to that AMA live stream over here to the left of me. So check it out, and I will see you hopefully very soon with a new video.